Hey everybody, welcome back. Monday Morning Briefing, episode number 109. It's Wednesday, January the 24th, and apologize we didn't have a briefing in the last couple of weeks, but there's been a lot of stuff going on as far as weather and things. We had our stock show the weekend after the last Monday briefing that we had. We ended up having our stock show coming up here locally, and that's when our Arctic blast or whatever that's supposed to be kind of blew in and stuff. And so for a couple of days, 2 or 3 days there, we did have some pretty good icy weather, cold temps for us. When we get down below 20, it's a pretty big deal for us down here. And so we were dealing with some of that. I took off a day or so out of the shop just to handle stuff at the house with that storm going on and things like that. But in general, it wasn't all that bad. We got really cold. We didn't have any kind of pipe issues. We didn't personally, either here at the shop or at home. Usually at the shop, I just turn the water off. We're on city water here, obviously, in downtown. And so I just cut the building off, drain the pipes, and it's good to go. They're not going to have any issues here. But at home, we had quite a bit to kind of prepare for. We like to think that we're staying prepared all the time for different things like that. But in general, we did good this year, much better than we did in 21 when we had the real bad one. But yeah, we didn't have any kind of broken pipes or anything like that. Kept water flowing, so we were pretty good. But just trying to keep everybody warm and keep all the critters put up and stuff like that. Now, as far as the stock show goes, kind of got to brag a little bit on my daughter. She showed her first steer, as I mentioned in the last Monday briefing. She showed her first steer in official 4-H. She's old enough to be in 4-H this year officially, and so her steer that she's been showing all year in some jackpot shows and stuff, she got to show it here at the Junior Livestock Show. We will be carrying that steer to Austin to show there, so she can get started getting familiarized with major shows and things like that. So we're gonna haul him over there. So we've got him for some time longer. Our show isn't terminal, so the kids get their animals back. And so, but she ended up winning Reserve Grand Champion, and she won Grand Champion Junior Showman as far as for showmanship. And so we were really, really proud of her. We were really happy to see that. She had a good time. She showed well. The steer looked good. The only bad deal about it was that storm came in basically that day. Our show's on Sunday, and Saturday we were showing in Gonzales at a jackpot show, and it really wasn't that bad. It was kind of cold, but it wasn't too bad. And the thing to remember here is that this steer that she's got is a Simmental Maine cross, and so he's got hair, but this is a slick show, as well as Austin is as well. And so we had to slick shear him, and so we did that the week before the show. And so he was really cold on Sunday when that thing came in, as were everybody else there and all the other animals there. But she did good. She stuck it out. She fought through, and she showed well. The steer did well. He was really glad to get back on the trailer and get back under his heat lamp at the house, though, that afternoon. So that was a good deal. Our show's really small. This is a real small community, so our show, was over mid-afternoon, and we got him home, got him settled back in, and then we ended up going to the we have it's called a buyer social that evening, where the kids are, they get their money or whatever for their animals and all that stuff, and they do some awards presentations and things. It was a lot of fun. So it was a big weekend for us. Had a good time. She also won, I think it was Reserve breed champion for her steer in the jackpot show, so that was really nice too. For the series, end of the year series, so that was the last show for that series that weekend as well. And my son as well won a couple buckles at the for the series, for the end of the year series awards for his heifer that he's been showing all year. So like I said, it was kind of a big weekend for us. And then, like I said, Monday it really got cold, and we kind of dealt with that. But I was in the shop that week. I want to thank everybody that's been ordering from us this January. Being an election year, just kind of talk business just a little bit as far as all of our shops or any kind of businesses. Election years are always kind of a wild card. You don't really know what's going to happen that year economically, how things are going to play out. But January so far, you guys are evidently busy because y'all have been making a lot of stuff. We've been selling quite a few patterns, material packs. We've been cutting leather steadily on that last shipment that we've got, and it seems like a lot of y'all have been needing a lot of that stuff, so that's great. So I want to thank everybody that's been purchasing from us for those things. and we've been working hard to try to get those orders out as quickly as possible. I don't know if it was the weather that week or what, but we did have a few orders that we were just trying to find out where they went, because some of them were just like at a standstill. I've visited with a couple of you guys that were on the path of a shipment to where it had to go through this one particular hub. I'm not going to call out that one hub with the U.S. Postal Service, but those packages just sat there and never moved, and they are still sitting there. So we have since sent out another order just to get you guys taken care of. It's not your fault, it's not our fault, but it's like, we got to take care of you. So we went ahead and sent them out, and those packages made it fine. But the ones at that one hub are still sitting there, two and a half weeks later, I guess. And so it's kind of, we don't know I don't know what's going on with that. The weather's gone now. Outside of us getting a ton of rain here for the last 2 days, I bet we've had, somebody in town a minute ago said that we've had like 9.5 inches total. I don't know how true that is. I'm at around 5 inches or so, which is great because my tank's full. The ditches are full. I mean, the ground's getting saturated. We're getting plenty of moisture. I wish we would have gotten this back in the summertime, because we were unseasonably dry, even for South Texas. It was really brutal this past summer, but we'll take it. Down here, we don't ever forsake the rain. We always want to get as much rain as we can whenever we can get it, and we're getting it right now. I think it's supposed to end today, but it's been raining steadily for the last 2 or 3 days, so we're enjoying that. And my place is a sopping mess, so my backyard's like a little swimming pool right now. So but in general, it's good. We need that moisture. As far as what we've been working on in the shop, we've got a lot of stuff that we're working on behind the scenes. You may not have noticed us on social media quite as much, and that's just simply because I've got some things that I'm working on that I don't really want to tease out there, if you will, or put out there just yet, just because it's kind of the beginning of the year. We're also working on inventory. We've got to do that. We may have mentioned it last time. We've got to get ready for our tax season and stuff, and I'd rather get that off my plate before we go into February. So we're working hard to get that done, as well as some new project videos and things like that we're doing, and getting ready for Prescott, Arizona in February. And so we'll be getting ready for that. I think it's the 22nd, whatever that weekend is. It'll start Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you're coming to Prescott, Arizona, be sure and come by our booth at the trade show, and we'd love to shake your hand, meet you, see some things that you've made if you've got some stuff with you. As far as my classes, all of our classes are full and booked up, and so we're very thankful for that. And just remember that if you're going to Sheridan, Wyoming, we'll teach classes there as well, and at Waco in August, we'll also teach classes there. So if you're coming to those shows and you missed an opportunity here at Prescott, don't worry, we're going to have 2 more shows this year, and we're also working on the schedule for classes here at the shop. I'm suspecting the first class will probably be March. And so I'll get more on that next week in the Monday briefing. We'll have the schedule actually kind of ironed out and finalized, and we'll hopefully get some dates set going into the summertime as well. We're just trying to get some things, make sure I don't goof up and have something planned that I'm not aware of or that we're not thinking about. And then one of the new project videos I'm working on, I don't know if many of y'all know what this is. This is a yearling sales catalog from a TQHA sale here in San Antonio. It's a racehorse yearling sale that they do, and these sale books here, if you've been to Ruidosa, if you've been to the TQHA sale, Heritage sale, a number of different horse sales, what do you call them, production sales, any of that kind of stuff, they usually put out a catalog like this if it's a sale of any size. And these things come in different sizes. Sometimes this is what I would call probably a medium. I'm not sure, exactly if they're all the same, but there's a thinner one. There's one that's even bigger than this, probably for Ruidosa. And in there's all kinds of things. It'll have all of basically the not the whole papers, but like the breeding on the horse and some background on the horse, the breeder, the trainer, all the stuff on the horses. And so you usually get one of these when you go to one of those sales so that you can begin to find the horses that you're interested in possibly purchasing, or anything like that. The neat thing with this is I created a pattern for this. My wife worked on a racehorse farm for 15 years or better as the breeding manager, and so she's been in the racehorse industry for a long time. And so we ended up designing a pattern for a sale catalog cover, like a book cover. The trick with that one, and we're going to do a video on this, that's why I'm showing this to you. It's kind of just to tease this out there, but if you have ever had anybody ask you to make one of these, a cover for these catalogs, it's hard to do and make to fit all 3 different sizes, or how many ever different sizes of these they are. And so what we did was we came up with a pattern to where there's a front and a back, and they lace together, and that allows you to expand it or contract it depending on the size sale catalog you're going to put in it for whatever sale you're going to. It's just kind of a neat little item. I think it'll make a good project video. I don't know how many people, I don't know how many of y'all have had requests for those, but it's nothing more than just any other kind of book cover. But this one, the way the spine is, the way it attaches and everything, I think is kind of neat. It's fairly easy for the person that gets it to adjust it real quickly to fit a different size sale catalog, and so I think it's kind of neat. So that'll be one of the project videos that'll come out pretty quick. So if you've been wanting to come up with something that's kind of unique, that you know, people that are in the horse industry or something, and you're wanting to make a gift or a project like that, that'll be coming up, and it's I think it's going to be pretty cool. Also, if you follow us on Instagram, you may have seen that I've been posting a few pictures of some fenders that I'm tooling. These are for the saddle that I'm building. This saddle will just be for sale. It was an extra tree that we had for quite some time, and we just kind of started. I actually started it last fall. You've seen it sitting behind me here in a number of Monday briefing videos, and we've just been piddling on it as we get time. And so I laid out a pattern for the fenders. It's gonna, I think it's gonna be probably a 3/4 tool, something like that. But we've been working on that. But other than fenders, I've also been working on some customer saddles, as well as I started my saddle for Sheridan, and so it's sitting behind me over here. I'm probably not going to tease a lot of that saddle out before Sheridan. I don't really have a reason other than just to kind of keep the suspense. We can kind of unveil it there at Sheridan, just kind of keep some stuff, you know, in case it doesn't turn out, maybe. I don't know. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But we're going to work on that. I've got some pretty good ideas on what I'm going to do on it, and I think it's going to be really neat. But we'll see how it goes. I may end up putting a few pictures of it out there before we go. But for right now, we're just going to kind of keep that under wraps. But do know that I am working on one, and unless something breaks loose, we should have a saddle at the World Leather debut this year in Sheridan in May. As far as cut room, I did mention a couple, maybe 2 or 3 Mondays briefings ago, that I had some black shrunken bullhide. We've sold a lot of wristlet material packs in this shrunken bullhide here in a brown, I think a gray brown I called it, and maybe another color. But I bought up a lot of the black that was left from that lot from my supplier, and I said I was going to put those on there, and I actually kind of forgot about it. Just with the turn of the year and things going on, I kind of forgot all about it. And so we've cut a bunch of those, and I put them on the website. So they are on the From the Cut Bench page on the website. Be watching that page over the next, you know, always watch that page, always check on it, because you never know what I might throw on there. It's just, remember, that page is just for oddball stuff. I may only have 1 or 2 of them, but it'll be things like that. So always kind of check that page out, see if I've added anything new that you might be interested in. But that's where we put all our wristlet material packs, because I don't always have chap leather for the bodies on those. And so, but we did put a bunch of black ones on there. I've got a little bit of the brown, and I may throw a few of the brown ones on there, but Claudia kind of earmarked that for her for some bags and future projects, so we might not cut all that up into those. I've also added a bunch of blemish grade 3-packs of gunslings. There's a few of those on there that we've had that I got a box of them over here that I've been kind of whooping on a little bit and making a few for the sales floor, and so I was just like, they were kind of piling up, and so I grouped them into 3s, and they're blemish grade. They're not bad. They're just, they might have some marks on them or maybe a little discoloration here or there, so we put those at a little reduced price in a 3-pack on the Cut Bench page, so you can check that out and do that. As far as all the material packs, they're pretty well full. Guitar straps are not yet filled, because we're making sure that I've got plenty of gunslings and things that sell a little faster than those, because those are a little bit more in demand. And but hopefully we'll get some of the guitar straps on there here pretty soon. And also, last week I posted a new video. It's just like a tip video, just a little rundown of our tool roll for our stamping tools. And I went through, we've already done a video on this, and we did it years ago, back actually when I was in a little shop right after I had sold the first building we were ever in, and I did a tool roll video where we go through all the tools that were in that roll. My roll hasn't changed a lot. We still have the majority of those tools in there, but we've added some new ones in there. And so I wanted to do a little update, mainly because we've had a few people that are taking our classes in Prescott or plan to in Sheridan, and they're curious on what stamping tools to bring, which is a great question, because in the past we have had people in the class that didn't have some of the main tools that we really need, and so it was great for them to be in the class because they learned which tools they kind of need to try to acquire. But it also was a little hard for them to try to figure out how to tool the pattern because they didn't have the proper stamps. And in that video, we go through what should be the priority on the stamping tools for the class. So if you've emailed me or you've asked, we've done that video so that we can kind of answer that question all at one time. But mainly the thing that I try to focus people on is your lifters, your pedal lifters, stamp lifters, not the ones with the wooden handle on them those are push lifters, but the stamp lifters, Barry sells a big selection of those. You want to have a good set of those, small, medium, and large. And then your bevelers, you want to have a decent set of bevelers. I don't care where you get this stuff from, but the main point is that they need to do the job they're intended to do. So as long as they're good quality and they work well, that's the main thing. But the lifters and the bevelers are going to take care of the bulk of making a pattern look really good and having it have some depth and all that. Obviously, you want a decent swivel knife. Most people have that figured out. They get them a swivel knife, or at least learn how to sharpen them, so that because even a cheaper swivel knife works great as long as it's sharp. And so that would be the main thing, swivel knife, but then also your stamping tools. As far as the other tools that we talk about in that video, I kind of tell you which ones are nice to have, but you don't have to have, how to kind of cross use those for other deals, so that maybe you don't have to have all of the tools. Most of us as craftsmen want to have all the tools that are out there, and that's evident by the little cans of tools that we have around in our shops, and all the tools that we have that we hardly ever use. That's just because we like tools, so we end up buying more than we actually need. But that video's intention is to just kind of let you know what if you're just starting out, what tools should you focus on the most, and maybe invest in a good set. Because especially on the lifters, I haven't seen a cheap line of lifters that do a really good job. I may be wrong, there may be some out there, and if there is and you know about them, put a comment down here so everybody else can see what those tools are, where to get them, because I don't care about the price of the tool. I care about the function of the tool, as long as the tool's doing a good job. If you can make your own out of a nail or a bolt or whatever, I don't care, that's fine, as long as it does what you're wanting it to do. And we'll try to do a video. I'm thinking about bringing back the mini tooling series in some fashion, and maybe working on something like that. And we'll, those series, we've done 3 or 4 of them, and those are great references to go back to. And watch those videos, because in those there may be 3 or 4 videos a piece for each one of those different patterns. You can tool along with me, get the free pattern, tool along with us, but you can also see the tools and what they're doing and kind of how I'm using them, and that'll help you to make a better decision on where you're going to get yours, or which ones you're going to get. And that I get a lot of questions real quick, and I didn't address this in that video, so I'll do it now, but I get a ton of questions from everybody, either at a show or email or whatever, is, am I using extra steep bevelers? I don't think so. I don't particularly source out or hunt for extra steep. I think extra steep is not necessarily essential, and if you're doing really, really tight, ornate patterns, then extra steep is probably advantageous for the pattern, but you should be able to bevel with just a standard angle beveler. The thing to remember is that, especially with Barry's tools, Barry King Tools in Wyoming, he's from the Sheridan tooling background. Like that's where all that came from, and their bevelers are naturally already a steeper angle than, say, a Tandy beveler, craft tool beveler, those older style bevelers. And so you're already going to have more of an angle on just his regular bevelers. And so I don't really see I don't see a need to get the extra steep, especially if you're starting out. Just start out with the standard bevelers work your way there. If you decide later that you need the extra steep for a certain tooling style that you're doing or tooling pattern, then you can certainly go down that road. When I'm looking at tools at a show, I'm not really. I'm looking at the tool. I'm stamping with a tool. It's usually got leather out there so that you can play with them, and I'm looking at that to make sure that it's going to do what I want it to do, and if it does, that's the one I want. So I'm not really paying attention to the actual angle on it, as long as I can look at it and see that it's about what I want. But I've seen some of you guys in the classes with extra steeps, and there's nothing wrong with them. If you've got them, use them. But I think that they're probably unnecessary to just for like all your patterns, because unless you're tooling like really ornate patterns that are really tight, a lot of little bitty vine work right real close together and everything, the extra steeps aren't going to be that helpful to you. And I think the regular angled bevelers that he sells are going to take care of a pattern more than adequately. So I wouldn't really worry about that. So I hope that answers that question, because that's probably one of the most popular questions I get on bevelers is, are you using extra steeps? And I usually just say no, I'm not. But if you've got them, that's fine. But you don't need to go purposefully. I can only have extra steep. That's not necessarily the case. But yeah, we did that video. It's been doing well. A lot of people have gotten good information from that, and hopefully that helps you if you're coming to our class in Prescott or Sheridan or Waco, either one. If you're coming there and you're going to tool, or you're going to tool with anybody, that's something that I would be sure that you have, because it's really going to help you in your patterns. And then as far as the podcast goes, we tried to have an interview with somebody last weekend, but we had some technical difficulties. So it was funny because we didn't end up being able to do the interview just because of some technical issues, which wasn't an issue, wasn't a big deal. We can reschedule. Both of our schedules are pretty flexible, and but we ended up visiting on the phone for like an hour and a half. So I wish I could have figured out a way just to do it over the phone, and I know there's a way to do it. We just haven't figured out the hardware for that yet. So as the podcast kind of grows, and as we get more knowledgeable on some of that production side of things, then maybe we can figure out how to do these, because I think doing these at the trade shows would be great. And just with all those guys that are there, all the folks that are there, you can grab somebody, go to a room, do a little hour interview real quick while everybody's there. Nobody's having to travel. We're not having to deal with Zoom or any of that other stuff. So that's something that we're thinking about adding to the podcast. But yes, we will have a new podcast come out. I'm hoping maybe we can get it done this weekend, and then it'll be a week or so and we'll have another one out. We've got some more scheduled. I've got a really big one that I'm not going to talk about because I haven't committed, but we've been in contact. I sent a blind email out, and sometimes you never know whenever you're contacting some of these guys that are kind of large figures on YouTube, large figures, in the industry or that they're in or whatever. You send an email to their website, and who knows if they're going to get it. And so we just did that, and it's worth a shot in the dark, and see what happens. Well, we got an email back, and they're interested, and so we're trying to get a date set. They're busy. We're busy. We're trying to get a date set on when we do the interview. But I'm super excited about it. I think you're going to like it. We've actually had some people actually suggest this individual a couple of times, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping we can get it done, because it's going to be really cool, and plus I just want to talk to them. So if I can talk to them and get a chance to interview them, that's going to be fun. So but we'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted on what's going on there. As far as everything else, that's it. We're just waiting for the rain to stop so that maybe some things can drain off a little bit. We're cleaning the shop, doing inventory, going to get back to cutting today. I did find a couple leaks in my building. I guess the rain's blowing just the certain way to where, we didn't know we had a leak right there. So in the very back, and so we had to move some leather around. But anyway, we'll be cutting stuff today, adding more stuff to the website. We'll be working on project videos. Hopefully we'll have a new one out pretty quick. And I've got some tip videos on just little techniques and things like that we're going to be adding here too. 2024 is rolling. We're January's almost gone. It's moving a lot faster than I expected it to, and it's all good. It's exciting. We've got a lot of stuff going on. So we appreciate you guys being here. I hope you guys will enjoy the rest of your January. Get ready for February and springtime, hopefully soon. And if you haven't already, go to dgsaddlery.com, sign up for the Leathercraft newsletter, and we'll see y'all next week in the Monday morning briefing.